So, Ryan,
Yeah.
you know about the human brain.
I mean, yeah, I know that it
It's
looks
a
like
loaded question.
yeah, it looks like a wad of chewed gum.
That's accurate. Yes.
There's parts of our brain. Well, like it's split into two, and people who are like left-brained and right-brained, that's like a way to describe a personality or something. That's kind of it.
I like to talk about the human brain a lot. And that covers a lot of it, but mainly the outside of the brain.
Oh, are we done?
No. And I bring up the brain because have you ever seen the human nervous system just on its own mapped out onto like a cross section of the human body?
Okay, we went to Body World.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Highly recommend that, by the way.
Yeah, so in Body World, they have the nervous system like on its own.
Yeah.
Right? Is
Such
that what
a
you're
trip,
talking about?
by the way, to see it.
It's freaky.
It's kind of amazing how they were able to remove that from an actual human body.
Yeah.
And it's just like
A lot of tweezers.
a lot of yeah. It's like operation, but it's all good. He dead. No one else here.
The operation guy, he's dead? Well, he's probably dead because he's got like a frog in there and all kinds of weird things.
All kinds of weird things.
Yeah, he's for sure
A
dead.
boot,
Right.
hamburger.
What a weird game.
It is a very weird game.
So
I bring up the human nervous system and the brain because the structures of the nervous system and the neurons in the human brain look a lot like tree roots. And also lightning, some have described, where it's kind of fingering branches off of one another.
Yeah.
And you see that pattern in nature all over the place. But scientists have been particularly interested in the similarities between the human brain and more zoomed in dendrites in the human brain, which are the little offshoots of the neurons in our brain that send signals to one another and make the electric meat jelly electric.
Yeah.
And give us the that makes us, you know?
If people could see my face on the video, maybe we'll make a video clip of this. I'm puzzled because you told me what the topic was, and I was like, cool, don't know anything about that.
Yep.
Sounds great. What you're talking about now is not at all what I expected.
Let me bring it together for you. You've seen the film Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I love Avatar.
Yep. You've seen the second film, Avatar: The Way of Water.
It is a movie, and I have seen it.
What the hell, James?
Get it together, Jim.
Get it together. Because frankly, okay, we won't go there. In Avatar, do you remember how their planet was connected by a semi-religious entity they
Eywa.
referred to Eywa? Exactly. Yeah. I see you.
Yeah.
And they had those little at the ends of their tails.
Yep, didn't like that.
And the thing that they could do that the humans could not do, except for Jake Sully, was connect their to the other of the rest of the critters.
You know, people listen to this.
Yeah, and they pay good money for it too on TikTok for people to make those sounds. We'll start a Patreon. You can request certain sounds for Alexis to make. But you remember that, right?
Yeah.
How they go
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I won't do it again. What was the benefit of them being able to do that?
Oh, they like plugged in.
They could communicate with one another.
Yeah.
Eywa was like sharing resources with the planet, keeping everything alive.
Yeah, it's like charging your phone.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you charge your phone gets the energy that it needs to look at those TikToks with the videos.
Yeah.
What if I told you that was kind of real?
Bullshit.
You don't even know. Ba-dam, ba-dam, down, down.
Oh, you don't even know.
Sorry, I shouted that one.
That's fine.
I got really excited.
That's okay. Fix
When
it in
I-
the edit.
Fix and post.
Yeah.
Turn the scream to a dream. When I first learned about this, I got so excited because I too love the film Avatar. And that part of the film was always like, what a weird way to get people on board with climate change activism.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But like it was emotional. And we all remember what Zoe Saldana's AI mapped digital face looked like when the home tree was burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She screams a lot in the second one.
Oh, so much. They were like, we got good feedback on that scream.
Yeah. It was
gonna-
powerful.
Need 40% more of that
Yeah.
round two.
The prequel to Avatar. Do you remember that Fern Gully? Less screaming in
Had
that
me
one.
in the first half. Like fully keyed in. What?
Okay, so the topic is the forest floor,
Yeah.
right?
Specifically, what is in the subfloor of the forest floor? When we think of a forest, maybe we'll think of a collection of one species of tree, like a redwood forest. From the redwood forest. I don't remember this land made for you and me. You know what I'm talking about.
I didn't for a second.
Yeah, but now we're
Right,
there.
I do know.
If you know it, kids.
Everybody sing along.
This land is, and so you might think of a bunch of different trees living together. When I think of Central California, I think of like the oak savanna and oaks living out there with pines and sycamores and maples and all these trees living together. But knowing what you know about forests, wouldn't you think that plants are kind of competitive with one another? Like they're fighting for sun and they're fighting for the nutrients and the water and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I first, like when I was a kid, we learned about sunflowers and how they would turn towards the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was unique to sunflowers. But I guess, I mean, it's not hard to imagine then that other plant life would behave similarly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, trees in general are responsible for the majority of carbon capture.
Yeah.
And how they process is they'll absorb CO2 through the atmospheres and sunlight through photosynthesis. And then they turn all that good into carbon in their bodies. They turn it into carbon, removing the oxygen stuff, sending the oxygen back out, keeping the carbon in their bodies. And they turn the carbon into sugars, which they then eat. But did you know that if they only had that one skill to sugar, they wouldn't be what they are now, the big old tall, rigid, hulking things that we think of as a tree. Distinguishing a tree from a bush, for example.
Oh, okay.
And the way they got that way was by accessing all the nutrients that are present in the soil through a network of fungi.
Ew.
Well, yeah. So I'll tell you first how scientists discovered it, and then I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question already.
Shoot.
Is this every forest floor?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So, like jungle forest and what's the other kind of forest?
Like temperate forests,
Yeah.
deciduous forests,
Sure.
arboreal forests.
Okay.
Forests of the tundra.
My favorite. They're all similar in that.
Similar in the sense that beneath the soil and the leafage and all them critters crawling within, there is a network of fungi connected by something called mycelium which is a feathery-like, almost hair-like system of strands that...
Like the Avatar ponytails.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Now he's getting it. Everybody. That legit, 100%, no cap, covers miles and miles and miles between trees in almost every forest everywhere on
Whoa.
Earth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And freaky.
Wait till you hear more.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to tell you how they found this out. So scientists noticed...
Sorry. I'm going to tell you how I found this out. Somebody fucked a tree.
So somebody fucked a tree. Okay, wait, kind of.
Oh, God.
All right, get ready.
Okay.
So they noticed that, especially with deforestation, very relevant, being in Oregon, logging is huge here.
Mm-hmm.
And with there being demand for certain kinds of trees, it means that we've repopulated whole ecosystems with species, because they are species of plants, that maybe wouldn't have had as big of a representation in that area or that much of a share of the species biodiversity in an area. Mm-hmm. And will cut down trees that aren't profitable. Scientists were noticing that when one tree was damaged, a totally different species of tree in the same forest region might have signs of being affected by damage as well. This is kind of confusing, right? Because you'd think if there was a birch tree and a fir tree that were chilling next to each other and somebody was cutting down the birch trees because they wanted that fir tree good for their dining tables, etc., that the fir tree would be like, hell yeah, more for me, more sunlight, more nutrients in the soil. But no, they noticed that the fir trees were actually starting to die as well.
Oh, because he was like, oh, no, my friend.
My buddy. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And here's how they figured it out. So this is genius to me. They sealed up birch trees, plastic bags.
Oh, I was going to joke. A plastic bag. But that's
Were you really?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I was thinking I was being cheeky. Like,
Nope. No, you're a scientist. Congratulations, Ryan. You're a scientist.
Yay.
And that's on millennial participation trophies. I got participation trophy for my grammar. Plastic bags, sealed them up so that they were still able to photosynthesize, but all of their CO2 that they would draw in, or the majority of it, would be whatever was contained in this plastic bag. And in the plastic bag, they injected CO2 that had a radioactive isotope in it. Not so radioactive that it would like kill the tree, but enough that it would be detectable by our technology that can detect radiation at certain levels.
Oh, like what they do to people.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. This is sometimes called carbon dating. It's being able to isolate the specific isotopes that were only around in a certain time. And so the atom bombs are used for that benchmark, because at no other point was our world flooded with radioactive. Anyway, so
wait, maybe. So I said like they do with people. Maybe I'm not thinking of the right thing.
What were you thinking of?
Well, don't they, when somebody is sick with something, don't they put like a, not radioactive, but some sort of like material, or inject them with something that goes throughout their blood system to see where stoppages are?
Oh, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, or maybe I'm making it up.
I feel like
maybe it was that other James Cameron movie.
Titanic?
Terminator 2.
What a savant.
Yeah, the T-1000. They get the T-1000 guy. They make him goopy. He goes in the baddie. He's like, goopy. Yep, this part's blocked. We've
got to get out of here. Anyway, so they injected into the bags this isotope in that the trees would have to absorb through their natural processes. Confirmed that isotope had been absorbed into the tree by identifying the now carbon. It was CO2, but now carbon that has that radioactive isotope still attached to it. This is the crazy part. Within hours, that same isotope was then detected in nearby fir trees.
Hours.
Hours.
What?
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the other side of the forest, where those fir trees were, they shaded the fir trees so they could no longer photosynthesize, thus not allowing them to get the sugars processed into their body that they needed to survive.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm hungry. And the birch tree's like, I have stuff. And it shared its stuff
Whoa.
with the fir tree within hours of
That's
the fir
crazy.
tree going, I'm hungry.
That's so fast.
Yeah.
I was
so
thinking
fast.
like weeks or months
or
or
months
something.
or something. No, hours. And the way that it got there was through the network of mycelium.
And so were they able to track that?
Yeah. So by understanding the process of how those isotopes travel, they were able to identify that one tree, on average, would be connected to about 47 other trees by tracking the specific isotopes
Yeah.
from one tree to the next.
Yeah, and so there is technology or tests that they can do to track the path from that source tree to the other 47.
By way of the mycelium. So the mycelium, the threads that they extend from their little fungal bodies, they're more like tubes.
That's what they used to say about me in high school. Fungal body.
I was like, you're like a tube? Sup, tube? Actually, that's a very hurtful nickname.
Oh, it was all hurtful. Can you imagine being called fungal body by your teacher? It's weird.
Get out of your fungal body.
Yeah,
You're like, that's so specific.
I know. I was just trying to play basketball.
It takes a while for kids to identify that they have body odor too. So, fungal body. The bigger and older a tree is, the more connected it is, Eywa style. Mm-hmm. Younger trees just kind of getting their way in the world, learning those communication techniques.
Also just people style.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has that uncle or someone that just like knows everybody.
No.
It's more connected.
You're like, why do you know him?
Yeah, your dad's that guy.
Yes. Yes,
He's
he
connected.
is. Yeah. Shout out to Papa Kid.
He's got all kinds of fungal bodies.
It's true. Why do you think they do that? Like, what's the point?
Oh, for discounts on like rental cars. And, you know, like that stuff.
I meant
Maybe
the,
get, like, a free
the
order
fungus,
garlic
the
bread.
fungus in the trees.
Oh. Well, I mean, same. You know, like
Yes.
everybody's looking out for each other.
Yes.
And so they're a community of living things and they
Living
all
symbiotically.
Yeah, they all want to survive.
That's exactly right. Unlike the rest
Hell
of
yeah.
us.
Oh man, this episode's making me feel pretty good. Last two, I was like, I don't know any of this. And this actually seemed like a really hard topic, so I was for sure not going to know any of it. But thank you, Jim Cameron. I feel like I
Life finds
owe
a way.
this to him.
Yeah. You are Jake Sully in this situation, and I'm teaching
Tight.
you
That's tight.
the way of the Na'vi. You're exactly right, though. The tree has something that the fungus needs, carbon, aka sugars, so that it can grow its fungal bodies. And the fungus is able to collect things that the tree needs, like those crazy minerals, so that it can get all big and strong, like nitrogen and phosphorus and calcium and copper and all the things our bodies need to also be big and strong. For example, nitrogen is used in DNA to create like the structures needed to make a tree rigid and make it strong, but it can't collect all that it needs on its own from its roots, because the roots can only collect minerals from its very tippy tips, and that's not enough for a redwood to become a redwood. Mm-hmm. Fungus, on the other hand, gets the minerals in the craziest fucking ways you don't even know.
Should I play the song again? Right here.
Did you know that fungus can hunt?
No.
They fish?
No.
And they strangle.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, well, this is the part where
The
it's
last
like...
one, I was already scared at hunt. And then you said strangle specifically?
Yeah.
I'm never going to the forest again.
There are some insects living in the soil. They're called springtails. They're one of the most common critters on the planet. And they look kind of like what you'd imagine. They like go boing, boing, boing under a microscope, kind of spring around.
Oh, they're tiny, tiny?
Tiny, tiny. Fungi eat them because they're numerous and delicious. They have a way of telling if the springtails are dead or alive to know if they're worthwhile. Like a spider wouldn't want to eat a dead thing because it's all husky.
Bon Jovi style?
Mm-hmm. They pierce them after fishing for them, and then they suck the nutrients out of them.
Oh my goodness.
They also mine rocks. So they kind of worm their way through the soil with their hair-like structures, the myceliums.
This is a whole nother movie. This is not Avatar anymore.
Oh my God. It goes so deep.
Yeah, this is something else.
Literally, it goes so deep.
Ew.
Some mycelium structures, like they've been able to trace it, like how they traced out the human nervous system.
Yeah.
They've been able to like pull it apart, some that they've been able to track, just that they've dug up 7 miles of mycelium.
What?
Mm-hmm. Stretching throughout a forest. One single connected little piece.
They can actually pull it out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll link it in the show notes, but there's, you can see pictures of, like a cross section where they've dug out part of a forest hill, and you can see how the roots are all connected to one another.
Oh,
in this
yeah.
big wood wide web.
Okay, is that what... I feel like I've maybe seen something like that. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you ever
can
dug a
actually
hole
just
as a
see
kid?
it with your eyes?
Mm-hmm,
Like,
totally.
You don't have to see it through a microscope or anything?
No. You can totally see it with your eyes. They're like eyelash with white kind of connective strands.
Whoa.
Throughout the soil. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, let me tell you how they mine.
That was like nature junk.
That is nature junk.
But like it's not just junk.
It never is. That's the thing. I that's why I get so pumped about this stuff. Is because like you die when you stop being curious about things, and the more you learn about stuff, the more you realize nothing is as simple as you thought it was, including the dirt. Let me tell you about how it mines, though, because I think this is so fascinating.
So if I said somebody's old as dirt, it's a compliment? I liked how you just paused and thought about it.
I really did. My whole face went slack.
It
and
did.
I was like,
there's our video clip.
100%. So they worm their way through the soil. They find the rocks that they want because they can fucking identify them. Then they secrete particular acids from their fungal bodies that would dissolve the rocks. And then they suck them out.
Wow.
And then they deliver those nutrients and minerals to the trees in exchange for the carbon. And this is where it gets fucking crazy. The forest is able to communicate with each other. And they found it out like a little bit through that fir birch thing, right? Where it was like the fir needed the sugars.
Yeah.
And the birch gave it sugars. But it's not even as simple as that. It gets so deep. Some trees might need more nutrients or different nutrients than others. And the mycelium is able to provide different kinds of minerals and nutrients to different trees, depending on its needs, where it is in the network.
Whoa.
So, for example, that fir tree might need more magnesium or more copper.
Yeah.
And that mycelium network will send that to that tree, whereas it'll send the birch maybe more calcium and more nitrogen. And as needed.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, this species will always get this amount from this. Equal exchange. Nope.
Yeah.
It's a living, connected system. A network of tiny little tubular highways sending information and chemicals and defensive systems.
Strangling.
Dissolving. Hunting, fishing, strangling.
Right. Sounds like a killer weekend.
Yeah. Weekend at Bernie's. Like if a forest is being deforested, as the Fern Gully style, as that part of the forest is being destroyed, it will send alert systems to the nearby trees, like stress hormones, basically.
Oh, wow.
And this is where it gets really sad.
Okay.
And where I truly can't look at a forest the same way after knowing this.
Wait, do I want to know this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because you don't even know yet. When a tree knows it's dying, it sends what's left of its carbon reserves to its neighbor trees.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Shares whatever it has left. Because it's like, I'm not going to use this anymore. Take it. And it sends it back out through the mycelium network again.
Holy shit.
If part of the forest is being affected by like a pest, like a mite or something like that, some networks of trees will then create chemicals to kill the bugs
Whoa.
by taking resources from some trees and then sending them to other ones.
Yeah.
And then they'll go, and the bugs will go, ee! Like that. That blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, that is crazy. The part about the dying tree is very wild to me.
It's the intelligence of the forest.
So, okay, let me see if I understand what I've learned so far. James Cameron no longer has any original ideas? None?
None.
Wow.
None.
Fucking guy.
Now, let it be known, Avatar is my father's favorite film.
I love Avatar. But
What he
everything you're saying is familiar.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I knew this stuff.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's pretty cool. Like, I guess anytime I learn about nature in these kinds of ways, it is really freaky how sort of sci-fi everything actually is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I very much feel like there's a reason why in the before times, civilizations and cultures had to come up with all these crazy stories to explain the weirdness of the world. Because it's so complicated.
Yeah.
And so much more magical in a tangible sense than we can even comprehend. And that's the beauty of science to me. People who are like anti-science or resistant to knowledge will be like, well, like then explain this. And I'm like, well, that's what's so fucking cool about it is that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's once you've decided, yep, that's why Sky Daddy made it so. Like that's when you're not a scientist anymore.
Yeah, totally.
You have to keep asking why. And there is an answer. We just don't necessarily always or already have the right tools to identify it.
Yeah, so like that could be, I'm thinking about how wild that would have been without those tools and processes. You are living in nature and you see these behaviors in things that you don't think are alive.
Yeah.
That would be weird. And you would have to tell yourself a story to make it not weird.
Yeah.
So that you can get on with your day and think about how you're going to feed your family or whatever. So that totally makes sense that those kinds of stories would be created or rationalizations would be created. Yeah.
We want to know.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're curious by nature. We're inquisitive. That's how we got this far. That and thumbs. We explored that in episode 0. Curiosity and thumbs.
Yeah.
But if that tool isn't there to use, stab, stab, smash, smash. If you don't have the right tool, we're going to come up with a reason why it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to be right.
Yeah.
And we can reform those answers too over time. But you can't unsmash something once you've smashed it, right?
Oh, you bet you can.
You'll see. You'll all see.
That didn't mean anything. I was just words came out.
What I'm getting at with that is that, unfortunately, climate change and human caused unnatural selection
Yeah.
has led to not only the degradation of the mycelial network all over the world, but it's also changed the makeup of the forests to the point where mycelial networks are now having to, I'm going to use the phrase make decisions, because it is very similar to a neural network that's making choices, right?
Easy there, Sigourney.
To give nutrients to species of trees that are more adaptive than others.
Oh, so it's making decisions on what has a better chance of living
For
or
the good of the
surviving.
forest.
Yeah.
Mhm. So scientists have noticed that some species and some forests are thriving despite same conditions.
Yeah.
Worsening conditions due to climate change, but equal across an area. And looking at that carbon information, we can see that trees that have been able to change their leaf shape over time. Oh, that's what's so crazy to me. Like a plant can change where the nutrients go to the point where it's changing the shape of its leaves to try to make a better equation for how much energy it's putting into the leaf and how much it's getting from the sun.
Yeah.
And it can't get too much or it'll burn.
Right.
But it can't make so much that it'll use up more reserves than it has. So trees that are able to kind of like adapt on the fly like that, in terms of like the long term of evolution and stuff.
The long fly.
The long fly, the long haul flight, if you will,
Yeah.
of dynamic change, they're getting the nutrients. It's sort of like, like if you had a job that promoted based on merit, imagine. Stay with me now.
Wait. I'm going to need a minute. Nope. Don't get it.
Well, if you can imagine like a sci-fi world
Okay.
where that took place.
The only one I can picture is the Matt Damon film Elysium. And I don't like that.
No. But those individuals that performed and were like nimble and smart, they would be given all them promotions. Yeah. And eventually you'll create a super dream team of sycamores and oaks and things.
So, I had a question about how do you say the word again? Mycelium?
Mycelium. Mm-hmm.
So, well, nope. I don't remember the question. Never mind.
Forests have different cocktails of fungus and bacteria that make up their fungal network. So like a forest in the Amazon is going to have different kinds of fungus and bacteria that make up their network versus the ones up here in the Pacific Northwest.
So mycelium is a combination of fungus and bacteria?
Mycelium is the term for those white hair-like structures that are coming off of the fungal bodies and bacterial bodies that are then connecting the roots to the fungal bodies. I didn't tell you how they talk to the trees. So they...
I remember my question, by the way.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Is this a situation where the tree and plant life are... Well, now that I'm thinking about my question, I feel like you answered it already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. The trees and plant life are more dependent on the mycelium then? Because you said earlier that they make decisions on which trees have a better chance of survival.
Yeah. So some scientists are theorizing that it is the fungi who's deciding who gets what.
That's Eywa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fungewa.
Well, because it takes so long for these networks to become established in these areas that are becoming deforested or used for logging. The trees aren't thriving the way that they would have before because we've ripped Eywa out.
Okay.
And even if you put a tree in an urban area, it's not going to thrive the way that it would in a forest.
Because it's all by its lonesome.
All by itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to get that unobtainium.
Well, yeah, that's
pays
what
for the
that's
whole
called.
party.
See this little guy right here?
Yeah. Now I'm Rabisi.
I'm Sigourney.
Yeah.
God damn it! You animals! Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to answer your question, the trees can give between 20 to 80% of their sugar to the fungus, which is a huge range.
Yeah.
Which has led scientists to believe that it is the fungus that's calling the shots there. That they're saying, I think you have more to give this week, Jeffrey. You're going to give a bigger cut to the boss. I don't know what that was.
Is that Geo?
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yeah, Joffrey.
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was like a Dust Bowl era
Right. Yeah, I heard it.
tenant farmer.
Yeah. I think the audience will hear
He
it.
took a little too much from the moneylenders, and now he's got to pay up.
Yeah.
How the trees talk to
Yeah.
the fungus, or the fungus talk to the trees. So the fungus emits chemicals from its fungal bodies through the mycelium, and they kind of touch it like a little gentle caress onto the roots, and they the chemicals that they send are specifically to soften the roots so that the mycelium can get all up in there.
Should I put some like funky music under this? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so we can communicate better, baby. Yeah. Just soften up and open up for me. And that's what they do. But what a fucking crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, of all the things that it could be doing, it's specifically in that part of the process telling the tree, hey, soften up. Let me get up in there. What?
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
cool. Some areas that are like very nutrient devoid in the soil, like they don't have a lot of minerals in the soil, like rocks and shit, but maybe there's a river nearby that has a lot of fish in it, maybe fish that die. The fungus maybe will feed more on that.
Is that what you mean by fishing?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it will eat the decaying carcasses of the fish. And there are some forests where 75% of the nitrogen in the trees comes from fish.
Poof. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. All that's to say, fungus is among us.
Damn it. I felt like that was coming and it still got me. Shit. That was good. Well done.
Thank you. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of blown away. That's pretty neat. I had no idea about any of that.
It's everywhere is the amazing thing. The next time you take a walk, just look at the different trees around you. The different ones, like not the groups of them together, but the different ones. And they're talking. They're making deals.
They're all like talking shit about my clothes and fashion choices.
Like, your leaves look like shit.
Look at this guy. The fuck is he doing out here with that? Hey, get a better jacket. Hey, get a better jacket.
Do you see Douglas fir over there?
I like them to, like, I like to think about them like whispering to each other about the hikers that pass by.
You see this guy?
She has no business in those pants.
She has no business in those pants. Wow. They're very shady. Hey,
They're all catty. Yeah.
because it's a tree. Is it shady?
Oh. Yeah.
Nah.
All right. Well, I think we should make like a tree and get out of here.
Indeed. And now you know.
Cool. Thanks, kid.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.